Imagine this. You're building a Power BI report and need to display various time-based calculations like year to date, quarter to date, month over month, and year over year. For each of these, you have to create separate measures for every metric you want to analyze, whether it's revenue, profit, or sales quantity. As your report grows, the number of measures quickly becomes overwhelming, cluttering your data model and making it harder to manage. This is where Calculation Group comes in. Calculation Group aims to solve this problem by allowing you to create reusable calculations that can be applied across multiple measures. Instead of having individual measures for YTD revenue, YTD profit, and YTD sales, you can create one YTD calculation that applies to all your metrics. Quite honestly, this feature has been around for a year now, and I was not using it until recently. But when I started using this, I realized its potential. So today, we'll explore how calculation groups simplify your Power BI reports by reducing redundancy and keeping your data model clean, organized, and easy to manage. Alright, before we start, just make sure that you download the latest version of Power BI onto your systems so that you can access the calculation group feature. Okay, so we have this sales data that we have imported into Power BI, and if you want to download this data, the link will be in the description. You can download and follow along. I have this column called sales here, and I want to create a couple of measures using this sales column, that is current month sales, previous month sales, current quarter sales, previous quarter sales, current year sale, and previous year sales, which means in total I have 6 measures that I would like to create to show all these different splits of data for different period of time. Now, if it was just sales, I would have just gone ahead and created those 6 measures and completed my task. But now the problem here is I have 2 more columns which are returns and quantity. I want the same thing for these 2 columns as well. So which means I need to create 18 measures just to show those time related measures for these 3 columns. And this is very inefficient, because what if tomorrow one more column came into the data, let's say discount or profit, and you're asked to create the same time related measures for those 2 columns as well. That means 12 additional measures for those 2 columns. So which means you will keep on creating duplicate and redundant measures again and again whenever you have to create those time intelligent measures. This is where the topic of this video, which is calculation groups, come into the picture. So let's just see how we can use calculation groups to solve this particular problem. To use calculation groups, you need to first create a master measure which will act as a reference point for your calculation group. And you would have to create this master measure for each column that you want. So let's insert a measure first. And the reason I'm inserting a measure is because calculation group works with only explicit measures. So all the implicit measures that you see here will not work with calculation groups. Okay. So I'm going to say total sales equal to sum of sales. Similarly, I'm going to create the same for returns and quantity as well. Alright, so now I have these 3 master measures that I will use as a reference for the calculation groups. Okay. And by the way, right now we are just calculating sum. You can also use average, min, max, anything you like. Okay. Now, in order to access the calculation group feature, you need to go to the model view of the Power BI desktop. So I'm going to click on this model view here. And within this, in the home ribbon itself, you'll see this small button which says calculation group. And you will also see the model tab in this data panel, where you can see all the measures and tables that is there in your model. Now, let's create our calculation group now. Okay, so I'm going to click on calculation group. And the moment you click on it, it gives you a prompt saying that this does not work with implicit measure. The same thing which I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I'm going to say yes. And if you see, it has inserted a new calculation item here. Now remember, we have to create 6 measures for current month, previous month, current quarter, previous quarter, current year, and previous year. Okay, and calculation group acts as a measure itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a measure for current month first. So I'm going to say CM equal to, I'm going to say calculate. In the next line, I'm going to say selected measure. Now this is a syntax that automatically comes in when you create a calculation group, and this is the most important part of it. After you write this selected measure, you can write your logic. Alright, now I'm going to create similar logic for previous month, current quarter, current year, and previous year. Okay, and if you notice, the one that we just created, it's under this calculation item here, and the name has been assigned here. In order for me to create another measure here, I'm just going to simply click on this 3 dots icon here and click on new calculation item. Alright, so now I have created all those 6 measures that I needed, which is current month, current quarter, previous quarter, current year, and previous year. Now, if you notice that it is sorted alphabetically here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange this so that it makes much more sense. So this previous month should be with current month here. So I'm going to move it up. Now, if you're wondering the logic that I've used in each of these measures, I will have these logics as well in the link in the description. So if you want to copy paste, you can do that from there as well. Okay. Now I've created this. I'm going to go back to my visual here first. And within this, I'm going to insert a slicer using the order date column here, because all the logic that I built in this are based on the order date column. Okay. And I'm going to use a slicer here. I don't need the hierarchy, and this is going to be a drop down, or maybe let's say between. Okay, so I'm going to add it here. Perfect. Now let me create a grid here using a couple of columns. Okay, so I'm going to use the country column, and I'm going to use the product column. I'm going to use this table view, and let's put it here. And along with this, I'm going to use the sales measure. Okay, the total sales measure. For now, it's simply giving us the sum of sales for the particular bifurcation that we have assigned, which is on a country level and on a product level. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a slicer on this page using the new calculation group that we created. Okay, so I'm going to expand this, and if you see, this is the new calculation group that we created. You can rename this group if you want. So you can just click on the 3 dots icon, click on rename, and I'm going to call this period. And now I'm going to just click on this period to create a new slicer on this page. And I'm going to use the new slicer that we have so that I get a clean look, a button kind of a look. Now feel free to format this button because we can make this very beautiful using this new slicer feature. Okay, but for now, I'm going to keep it as it is. Observe when I click any one of them. Okay, I'm going to click on this current month. If you notice, the numbers have changed. The numbers are now showing only the current month data in it. I'm going to click on previous month. It's going to show you previous month here. Current quarter is going to show you current quarter number, previous quarter, current year, and previous year. Now, till now, you might think that this can be done using those 6 measures that we create manually. But here is the magic. In the grid, I'm going to add the total quantity column as well. Now, if I click on this current month, if you notice, both total sales and total quantity numbers are showing previous month, current quarter, and current year and previous year. And this applies to any measure that you have created and you have inserted in your visual. So I'm going to insert this total return as well. And this is going to do the same. Also, if you want, you can have this period calculation group as a column inside a matrix visual. So I'm going to use a matrix visual now, and I'm going to remove this product from here just to reduce the complexity. And I'm also going to remove this quantity and returns column from here. And now I'm going to insert this period calculation group into this column. Now, if you see, it has given me all these splits of data based on those groups that we created. I can add one more measure here, like total returns, and it's going to show me that split as well. And this is completely interactive. So even if I change the date here, all the numbers here changes based on the date, because my logic which we built was based on the order date column. Now you don't have to create any further measure to show at least these 6 time related measures, because no matter how many columns that you have in your data, you can always use these 6 measures to show time related values. Cool, right? So this was a quick video that I wanted to create and show you how to use calculation groups. Please let me know in the comment section what else you have done with calculation groups if you're already using it. I would love to learn that from you as well. So I hope you liked this content, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell icon so that you do not miss any content that I upload. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.